for over a decade. Kirk Frost and Rashida have been the backbone of love and hip-hop. Atlanta power couple who survived every scandal, every betrayal, and every twist the show threw their way. But now, in a move that nobody saw coming, they've walked away from it all. No guest appearances, no farewell episode, just gone. Fans are stunned. Insiders are whispering about betrayal, and producers are scrambling to rewrite the narrative. But here's the truth. This isn't just about leaving a TV show. This is about a love story on the verge of collapse, a marriage tested beyond repair, and secrets so explosive they could destroy everything they've built. What went down behind the scenes that pushed Kirk and Rashida to quit for good? Is this the final chapter of their legacy, or just the beginning of an even darker saga? For years, Kirk Frost and Rashida were seen as the heartbeat of love and hip-hop, Atlanta. Their storyline was messy, dramatic, and often controversial, but it was also real enough to keep fans glued to their screens. They weren't just a couple. On TV, they were the power couple, the ones who, no matter what storm came their way, always seemed to come out stronger. From Kirk's cheating scandals to Rashida's icy confrontations, viewers thought they'd seen it all. But what fans didn't realize was that the most shocking twist was brewing silently behind the cameras, ending so explosive it would shake the entire franchise. It started subtly. Few fans noticed that during recent episodes, Rashida's body language toward Kirk had shifted. Gone was the playful banter or even the fiery back and forth that defined their screen presence. Instead, she seemed cold, distant, and detached. Social media threads began popping up. Why does Rashida look checked out? Kirk and Rashida aren't even sitting next to each other anymore. Fans speculated it was just another scripted storyline, but insiders knew something deeper was going on. Then came the paparazzi drought. Normally, even when filming paused, Kirk and Rashida would be spotted together at their store, at events, on vacations. But suddenly, nothing. No joint appearances, no couple photos, no brand collaborations. For two reality stars who built their empire on visibility. This silence was deafening. Rumors began spreading like wildfire. Some whispered about money issues. Others claimed Rashida was quietly negotiating her own show without Kirk. A few even hinted that Kirk had once again been caught in a scandal that producers were desperate to bury. But the truth was more shocking than anyone could have imagined. The real unraveling began at a private VH1 mixer, an exclusive invite-only event meant to celebrate the upcoming season. Cameras weren't rolling, but insiders who attended swear it was more explosive than anything the show had ever aired. Tension was already thick between the couple. Kirk had been drinking, working the room like a man desperate to prove he still had control. Rashida, meanwhile, stayed quiet, her eyes never leaving him. And then it happened. "You really think I don't know what you've been doing behind my back?" Rashida's voice cut through the chatter like a blade. Everyone froze. Conversations stopped. Heads turned. Kirk tried to laugh it off, but his forced chuckle only confirmed what people suspected: he was caught. "What are you talking about?" he muttered, pretending ignorance. But Rashida wasn't here to play games. She pulled out her phone, tapped the screen, and held it up for the room to see. Gasps echoed across the venue. Some covered their mouths in shock. Kirk's face drained of color. No one knows for certain what was on that video. Some insiders claim it was footage of Kirk getting too close with another woman tied to the show. Others insist it was about shady backroom deals involving contracts and money, but one thing was clear: whatever it was, it shattered everything. "I told you," Rashida said, her voice low but full of venom. "If you ever embarrassed me again, it was over," Kirk stammered, reaching out for her arm, but she yanked away. "Don't touch me!" Her words cut deeper than any storyline ever could. This wasn't for ratings. This was real. The room erupted into chaos. Producers scrambled to de-escalate, whispering frantically, trying to get Rashida to calm down, but it was too late. She stormed out, leaving Kirk standing there humiliated in front of everyone who mattered: executives, fellow castmates, and insiders who would run straight to the blogs. That night marked a turning point. The whispers about cracks in their marriage weren't whispers anymore, they were roars. Within hours, gossip accounts had vague but juicy posts hinting at a major blow-up between Kirk and Rashida. Fans flooded the comments, debating if this was just another ploy for ratings. But those who were in that room knew the truth. This wasn't scripted. This wasn't fake. It was the beginning of the end. And the producers. They were in panic mode. Losing Kirk and Rashida wasn't just losing the cast members, it was losing the couple that defined the show. They had built years of drama around them, their store, their family, their fights. Without them, what was left? But the problem wasn't just keeping them on screen, was the fact that Rashida herself seemed completely done. In the days that followed, she refused to film. Calls from producers went unanswered. Kirk tried to reach her, but she blocked his number. Rumors swirled that she was already talking to lawyers, not just about her marriage, but about her contract. For the first time ever, Rashida wasn't playing the role of ride or die. She was playing the role of a woman who had finally had enough. And Kirk, he was left scrambling. For years, he had always managed to find a way, backspin the narrative, twist the truth, smooth things over. But this time felt different. This wasn't just another scandal. This was a complete collapse. And the question everyone was asking was simple. Was this finally the end of Kirk and Rashida? The answer was about to come faster and harder than anyone could have imagined. The night Rashida stormed out of that private VH1 mixer was the night everything changed. The whispers that had been circling for months suddenly erupted into a full-blown firestorm. No cameras were rolling, but every insider who witnessed the confrontation made sure the story spread. By morning, gossip blogs were buzzing with cryptic posts about a betrayal, a secret video, and a power couple finally breaking. At first, producers tried to spin it. They dropped teasers about unexpected drama coming in the next season, hinting it was all part of the show's storyline. But Rashida wasn't playing along this time. She refused to film. Calls from production went unanswered. Her manager told them flat out she's done. For Kirk, the silence was unbearable. He bombarded her phone with calls, texts even. Voicemails begging for a sit-down. Nothing. She had blocked his number. For the first time in their history with Love and Hip Hop, Rashida wasn't standing by her man, and fans noticed. On Instagram, her posts became icy and independent. Gone were the smiling couple's selfies or joint promotions for their store. Instead, she posted cryptic quotes about betrayal, self-worth, and walking away from toxic situations. Fans quickly decoded the message. This wasn't just about drama for ratings. Rashida was making a statement. Meanwhile, Kirk was unraveling. He'd always been able to spin the narrative in his favor, whether it was turning an affair into a storyline or flipping a betrayal into a reconciliation arc. But this time, the producers weren't protecting him. Instead, whispers from inside the network started leaking. An internal report surfaced claiming Kirk had become increasingly difficult to work with. He was accused of manipulating storylines, clashing with producers, and demanding special treatment. One source even said, Kirk thinks he runs the show. But at this point, he's more trouble than he's worth. The cracks between Kirk and the network widened. In a desperate move, he set up backroom meetings with VH1 executives, threatening to walk away if they didn't back him. But here's the twist. The higher-ups weren't panicking. They were relieved. After years of dealing with Kirk's chaos, they were ready to move on, and then came the bombshell. A few days after the infamous mixer, Kirk received a letter from the network. It wasn't a negotiation. It wasn't an olive branch. It was a termination notice. He was out. Effective immediately, Kirk Frost's contract with Love and Hip Hop Atlanta was terminated. Insiders said he was blindsided. For years, he'd been untouchable. No matter how many scandals surfaced, he always managed to hold on to his spot. But this time, the network had decided enough was enough. And without Kirk, there was no way Rashida was staying. The Frost Empire, built on drama and resilience, had officially collapsed. When the news hit the internet, the reaction was nuclear. Fans were divided. Some cheered, saying it was about time the toxic cycle ended. Others mourned the loss of the couple who, love them or hate them, had been the backbone of the franchise. But one thing everyone agreed on: love and hip-hop would never be the same. Kirk, furious, tried to fight back. Sources claim he reached out to bloggers offering exclusive tea on behind-the-scenes scandals. He hinted that he had dirt on producers, on other cast members, even on Mona Scott herself. "If I'm going down, I'm taking everybody with me," he allegedly told a close friend. But while Kirk was lashing out, Rashida was moving in silence. Insiders revealed she had already begun secret talks with rival networks. Not for another couples show, not for another ensemble reality drama, but for something entirely her own. A show centered on her life, her business, her family, without Kirk dragging her down. One executive described it perfectly: Rashida doesn't need Kirk to be a star. She's proven that time and time again. This is her chance to finally shine on her own terms. Fans picked up on the shift instantly. Hashtags like #team RASHEED and #SheDeservesBetter began trending. Gossip blogs turned against Kirk, painting him as the bitter villain clinging to the past while Rashida stepped into her power. But the real kicker came when insiders leaked a shocking detail: the video Rashida showed at the mixer, the one that left Kirk pale and humiliated, wasn't just about cheating. It was about betrayal on a deeper level. Some claim it tied Kirk to shady financial dealings involving the show's contracts. Others insist it revealed a new affair with someone close to the franchise. Either way, the footage was damning enough that Rashida's threat wasn't just personal, it was nuclear. By the end of the week, the Frosts were officially erased from Love and Hip Hop. Their names were removed from promotional materials. Their storylines cut short. For a couple who had defined the franchise, it was a brutal and public end. But if Kirk thought the nightmare was over, he was wrong. Because Rashida's next move would leave him blindsided. Dan fans hungrier than ever for the truth. After the termination notice went out, the energy shifted completely. For the first time in Love and Hip Hop history, Kirk wasn't in control of the narrative, and Rashida wasn't lifting a finger to save him. The network had made their decision. The Frosts were erased from promotional materials, and producers were quietly moving forward without them. But while Kirk panicked, spiraling into calls, threats, and backroom deals, Rashida was plotting her next move in silence. Her Instagram became a diary of cryptic hints. Simple black and white text posts reading, "Sometimes silence is the loudest. Answer, and you can only disrespect me so many times before I walk away for good." Fans dissected every word, convinced she was speaking directly about Kirk. Within minutes of posting, comment sections lit up. "Queen, we see you. Finally free. Leave that man in the past." But what fans didn't know was that these weren't just emotional posts. They were calculated breadcrumbs. Behind the scenes, Rashida was already meeting with rival networks. Bet Zeus, even Netflix executives had reportedly reached out. They didn't want the Frosts, they wanted her. A solo show centered around Rashida's empire. Her music, her fashion boutique, her kids. A rise without the shadow of Kirk dragging her down. One insider leaked that during a pitch meeting, a top exec told Rashida, "You've carried that franchise for years. You don't need it anymore. You don't need him either." That moment was pivotal. Rashida had spent years as the loyal wife, the ride-or-die who stood by Kirk no matter what humiliation he put her through. But now she was done cleaning up his messes. She was ready to step into her own spotlight. Meanwhile, Kirk was spiraling, desperate to salvage his image. He started feeding gossip bloggers twisted half-truths, claims that Rashida was being manipulated, that producers pushed her out, that she was ungrateful after he built the empire. But the strategy backfired. Fans weren't buying it. For years, they had watched him betray, lie, and manipulate Rashida. Now, when she finally found the strength to walk away, the internet rallied behind her. And then came the ultimate humiliation. For Kirk, Rashida went live on Instagram while he was in the middle of his own live stream. Thousands watched as her name popped up in his comments. "Okay, so Rashida's in here?" Kirk muttered nervously, clearly rattled. "Baby, let's talk. Don't let the blogs get in your head." She didn't say a word. She didn't even type a response. Minutes later, she posted another IG story. Some things don't need to be explained. The truth always reveals itself. The internet exploded. She just ended him without saying a word. One fan tweeted, "The silence is louder than his excuses." Within hours, the hashtag our ASHEEDA deserves better, and hashtag by Kirk trended nationwide. But while fans cheered, producers were sweating. Love and Hip Hop was losing not just two of its biggest stars, but its central storyline. For years, the Frost marriage had been the show's beating heart, the drama. The betrayals, the reconciliations, the fights that turned into memes. Without them, ratings would take a massive hit. Sources claimed executives begged Rashida for one final sit-down scene, one closure moment to wrap her arc. But she refused. "I'm not giving them one more tear," she allegedly told a close friend. For Kirk, rejection from the network was one thing, but watching Rashida rise while he crumbled, that was unbearable. In private, he ranted that she was turning the whole industry against him, that she had been plotting this exit for months. But insiders say he missed the point entirely. Rashida wasn't plotting against him. She was finally plotting for herself. And just when Kirk thought things couldn't get worse, the rumors about the video resurfaced. Blogs claimed to have insider confirmation that the footage Rashida showed at the mixer wasn't just about another woman. Some said it tied Kirk to shady financial dealings with production contracts. Others hinted it exposed him negotiating with rival shows behind the network's back. Whatever it was, insiders agreed on one thing. It was bad enough that Rashida had the upper hand and Kirk had no comeback by the end of the month. The couple was officially gone from Love and Hip Hop. The Frost era was over. But Rashida wasn't fading quietly into the background. She was preparing to step into an even bigger spotlight. And the teaser for her next move would send Kirk into a panic spiral that nobody could stop. If fans thought Rashida's cryptic, Instagram posts were explosive. They weren't ready for what came next. Out of nowhere, whispers began circulating about a solo project. At first, nobody believed it. For years, Rashida had been defined by her connection to Kirk, whether as his wife, his business partner, or his on-again, off-again co-star in the never-ending drama of Love and Hip Hop. But insiders insisted she was finally breaking free. And then, like a thunderclap, the rumor became reality. A teaser trailer dropped online at midnight. It's just 30 seconds long, but powerful enough to break the internet. The screen opened with Rashida sitting alone at a high-end restaurant, dressed in sleek black, her expression a mix of strength and sadness. She looked directly into the camera and said, "I gave my whole life to someone who didn't deserve me. But now, it's my time." The screen then cut to a rapid montage clips of Kirk's past scandals. Headlines about his affairs, old footage of Rashida crying on the show, fans chanting outside events. The final shot, Rashida slipping off her wedding ring, placing it on the table and walking away. The title appeared in bold neon letters, Unbreakable, the Rashida story. The internet erupted. Within minutes, hashtag Unbreakable was trending across Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Fans flooded the comments. Finally, this is the show we needed. Rashida's about to eat without Kirk. It's giving main character energy, and I'm here for it. Meanwhile, Kirk was blindsided. Sources close to him say he had no idea the project was happening. He assumed that if Rashida ever landed a solo deal, he'd still be part of it in some capacity. But watching the trailer, it was obvious he wasn't just cut out. He was the villain of her redemption story. He lost it, one insider revealed. He started calling everyone he could, producers, bloggers, even Mona Scott, demanding answers. But nobody picked up. Nobody wanted to deal with him. Kirk went live on Instagram hours later, trying to spin the situation. "People out here trying to twist the story," he said, shaking his head. "I've been holding my family down since day one. Don't let these execs brainwash y'all." But the comments were brutal. "Boy, bye. You embarrassed her too many times. She don't need you no more." Every attempt Kirk made to shift the narrative backfired. The fans weren't siding with him this time. Even celebrity voices chimed in. Cardi B tweeted, "That's what I love to see, a woman taking her power back." K. Michelle reposted the trailer with the caption, "Yup, about time." And just when it seemed like Kirk couldn't sink lower, another twist surfaced. A whistleblower, the same assistant who had previously hinted about shady production, practices leaked documents suggesting Kirk had been cut off from Love and Hip Hop not just because of his personal drama, but because of alleged behind-the-scenes conflicts over money. Claims of unpaid vendors, backroom deals, and power struggles painted him as more toxic than fans ever realized. The fallout was swift. Sponsors started distancing themselves. Industry insiders began branding him as radioactive. Blogs that once loved his machines now framed him as the washed-up villain who got outplayed by his wife. And the most humiliating part? Rashida wasn't saying a word. She didn't need to. The teaser had spoken louder than anything Kirk could post. But Kirk wasn't ready to go quietly. Rumors spread that he was sitting on nuclear receipts, dirt, that could take down cast members, producers, even Mona Scott herself. "If they think they can erase me," he allegedly told a friend, "they got another thing coming." Meanwhile, Rashida was thriving. Her boutique saw record sales after the teaser dropped, fans lining up outside just to support her. Every post she made went viral. Every brand wanted to work with her. For years, Kirk had believed she needed him to stay relevant. Now, the world was proving the exact opposite. The stage was set for an all-out war. Rashida was stepping into her power with Unbreakable. Kirk was spiraling, threatening to scorch the earth. The franchise was in chaos, and fans were left wondering, how far would Kirk go to drag her down? What final card was Rashida about to play? By the time the Unbreakable teaser hit its second week online, it was clear Rashida was winning. The trailer had racked up millions of views across platforms. Every gossip blog was covering it, and fans couldn't stop dissecting every frame. For once, she wasn't being dragged for forgiving Kirk's mistakes. She was being celebrated for finally walking away. "She's giving boss energy," one fan tweeted. Another posted a mashup of her most powerful quotes from Love and Hip Hop, overlaying it with the words, "From the ashes, she rose." It wasn't just support, it was worship. Rashida had gone from the long-suffering wife to the triumphant queen, reclaiming her throne. Meanwhile, Kirk was falling apart in plain sight. His social media presence had turned into a disaster zone. Every post was flooded with clown emojis. Every attempt to clap back only made things worse. He went live multiple times in a week, ranting about how Rashida was being manipulated by greedy executives and fake friends. But the more he talked, the more unhinged he seemed. "Brew, just log off," one fan commented. Another wrote, "You've embarrassed this woman enough, now you're embarrassing yourself." But Kirk wasn't just losing fans, he was losing money. Deals dried up. His business partners started distancing themselves. A popular nightclub in Atlanta even canceled a scheduled hosting appearance, citing concerns over negative publicity. For a man who had built his brand on being the boss, the one in control, this was a nightmare. And then came the leak that finished him. A blogger known for dropping unfiltered tea posted screenshots of emails allegedly tying Kirk to shady behind-the-scenes dealings. One of the receipts showed him negotiating a side payment from a sponsor in exchange for sneaking product placements into episodes. Another email suggested he had pressured younger cast members into stirring up fake drama to protect his own storyline. The internet exploded. Fans had always suspected Kirk played dirty behind the cameras, but seeing the receipts laid out was a whole different story. So he wasn't just toxic on screen, he was toxic in real life too. 1. Viral tweet read. The blogs had a field day. Headline screamed, Kirk Frost's secret scandals exposed. The fall of a reality TV villain. Rashida, on the other hand, was glowing. Paparazzi caught her arriving at meetings in New York, styled to perfection, walking with the confidence of someone who knew the world was finally on her side. Insiders claimed she was in talks with multiple networks about syndicating Unbreakable internationally. They want to position her as the next Bethany Frankel, one executive whispered. She's a brand, not just a reality star. But Kirk wasn't done lashing out. He called into a late-night radio show and tried to flip the script. Everybody acting like Rashida's innocent, like she ain't got skeletons, he ranted. I got proof she ain't who she says she is. Y'all worshiping her now, but when the truth comes out, don't say I didn't warn you. The problem? Nobody believed him. His credibility was gone. Even the radio hosts barely let him speak, cutting him off with, "Come on, Kirk." The receipts ain't in your favor right now. The tide had officially turned. Rashida was the heroine, the phoenix rising from the flames. Kirk was the villain, the bitter ex-husband spiraling out of control. And fans loved every second of it. But behind the scenes, something bigger was brewing. Rumors began swirling that Rashida's new show wasn't just going to be about her fashion empire and personal growth. Insiders claimed Unbreakable would feature guest appearances from other former Love and Hip Hop stars, women who had also broken free from toxic relationships. Imagine Kay, Michelle, Jocelyn Hernandez, maybe even Mimi Faust, sitting down with Rashida to talk about survival, betrayal, and reinvention. It was poised to be explosive. And here's where it got even messier. A source close to production claimed that Mona Scott herself was quietly keeping tabs on Rashida's moves. Allegedly, Mona was furious not because Rashida had left, but because she had pulled off something Mona thought only she could do: flip the narrative and build a brand outside of the franchise. Mona underestimated her, the source said. She's panicking that Rashida's about to outshine Love and Hip Hop entirely. For Kirk, this was the ultimate humiliation. Not only had he lost his wife and his spot on the show, but now he was watching her rise higher than ever without him. And the industry wasn't offering him a lifeline. Bloggers who once courted his messy interviews stopped answering his calls. Promoters who once booked him quietly pulled his name off flyers. Even some of his old castmates unfollowed him, publicly siding with Rashida. The final blow came when Unbreakable dropped its official poster. Rashida stood front and center, radiant, holding her children close. The tagline written in bold: strength, survival, success, on her own terms. Kirk wasn't in a single frame. The fans went wild. Cesarera, one wrote. Another said, Unbreakable is about to eat Love and Hip Hop alive. And they were right. Because while Kirk was plotting revenge, Rashida was plotting her legacy. And as the premiere date approached, one question burned hotter than all the rest. What would Kirk do to claw back into the spotlight? And how far was Rashida willing to go to keep him out of it? By now, the storyline had flipped in a way no one expected. Rashida wasn't just surviving without Kirk, she was thriving. Her new show, Unbreakable, was generating record buzz before it even aired, while Kirk was spiraling publicly. But in true Kirk Frost fashion, he wasn't ready to disappear quietly. If Rashida wanted freedom, he was determined to make her fight for it. The breaking point came when Kirk tried to launch his own counterattack. He leaked documents, old contracts, and private text messages trying to paint Rashida as disloyal and power-hungry. The problem: every receipt he dropped backfired. Fans immediately fact-checked, pointing out inconsistencies. Bloggers dismissed his leaks as desperate. One viral comment summed it up: "This ain't damage control, this is self-destruction." Still, Kirk pressed on. He started hinting at an upcoming tell-all that would expose Rashida's so-called double life. He promised that the world hadn't seen the real Rashida, and that when his story dropped, fans would finally understand why their marriage collapsed. For a moment, the internet held its breath. Could Kirk possibly have something strong enough to shift the narrative? But before he could make his move, Rashida struck first, and she did it live. One evening, she went live on Instagram again. This time surrounded by her glam squad, her kids in the background, and her mother sitting proudly by her side. She wasn't crying, she wasn't bitter, she was calm, steady, and powerful. "I've stayed quiet long enough," she said, her voice steady. "I let the world think I was just a wife standing by her man. But the truth is, I was building my own empire. And now, I don't owe explanations to anyone." To live quickly, climbed to over 200,000 viewers. Then she dropped the bombshell. Rashida revealed exclusive behind-the-scenes footage she had held on to for years. In it, Kirk was caught yelling at producers, demanding that they edit out his mistakes, and threatening to walk if Rashida's storylines made him look weak. Another clip showed him mocking her business ventures behind her back. The reaction was instant. Fans were furious, but not at Rashida, at Kirk. He's been gaslighting her for years. She carried him and he tore her down. Now we know the truth. The hashtags #team RASHEEDA and #Unbreakable flooded. Timelines: Kirk's so-called tell-all was dead before it could even launch. He tried to clap back, but it was too late. No one wanted to hear his side anymore. The villain edit had become his reality. And then came the moment that sealed it forever. VH1 released an official statement. After years of collaboration, Love and Hip Hop, Atlanta will move forward without Kirk Frost and Rashida. We wish them the best in their future endeavors. Fans were stunned. This wasn't just about a couple leaving the show. This was a full erasure. Their storyline, their brand, their entire legacy with Love and Hip Hop had been cut off. But the real twist was still to come. 2 weeks later, Rashida hosted the red carpet premiere of Unbreakable in Atlanta. The press swarmed, fans screamed her name, and celebrity guests from across the industry showed up to support. Cardi B sent flowers. Candy Burruss from RHOA made an appearance. Even Mona Scott herself was rumored to be watching from the sidelines, fuming. And Kirk, he showed up uninvited. Cameras caught him lurking near the entrance, denied entry by security. The clip went viral instantly. Fans laughed, mocking him as the ex who just can't let go. But insiders who were there claimed it wasn't funny at all. Kirk looked desperate, one source said, like he was on the edge of doing something reckless. Then, late that night, a cryptic post appeared on Kirk's Instagram. It was a dark picture of his studio, a glass of whiskey on the table, and a caption that read, "Y'all think she won, but the game ain't over. I still got cards to play." The internet went into meltdown. What did he mean? Did Kirk really still have dirt that could blow everything up? Was he bluffing? Or was Rashida about to face one more ugly battle before she could truly break free? For now, Rashida remains untouchable, riding the wave of her biggest win yet. But with Kirk promising he's not finished, the stage is set for a final showdown that could either bury him for good or drag her back into the chaos she thought she'd escaped. Because if history has taught us anything, it's this. In the world of love and hip-hop, the drama is never really over. And with Kirk Frost on the edge, one last shocking twist may be closer than anyone thinks. And there you have it, the shocking downfall of Kirk Frost. the rise of Rashida, and the end of an era on love and hip-hop, Atlanta. But if there's one thing we know about this world, it's that the story is far from over. Rashida may be stepping into her power with Unbreakable, but Kirk's cryptic warning, "I still got cards to play," hangs over everything like a storm cloud. Is he bluffing? Or does he really have one last bombshell that could flip the narrative again? Fans are divided, insiders are whispering, and the industry is holding its breath. So, what do you think? Did Rashida finally break free for good? Or is Kirk about to drag her back into chaos one last time? Could VH1 regret erasing them from the franchise if Kirk makes good on his threats? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to know if you're hashtag team RASHEED or if you believe Kirk still has some power left. And don't forget, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. Because trust me, the next chapter in this story is about to get even wilder. You do not want to miss it.